Hi, YouTube. We have a cold and rainy day. Well, not super cold, but it's damp. It's about 71 out there. So it was about 50 degrees last night. Not enough for really, we didn't have to light a fire, but it was just nice. Nice sleeping once we closed the windows most of the way. But I earlier today made chopped up a bunch of veggies and chicken breasts and some different spices and some onions, garlic, little bit of each, and celery, carrots, chicken, 2 bouillon cubes, some water, salt and pepper, parsley. I'm gonna let that boil up and then put some Amish egg noodles in it. So it'll be chicken noodle soup. So, yeah, sounded good today. I made Bobby some Doug's cat. I took some carrots and parsley and really tiny pieces of chicken and then a little cornstarch to give it a little bit of like gravy like he likes. And not a lot, just a little bit, not even as thick as they make in the cat food cans, because I really don't know what's in that stuff anyway. So, you know, I mean, just because they say it's good doesn't mean it really is. So, I don't know. You know, I just look at, like I give the outside kitties a lot of, homemade meals and different things, and they look healthier than a lot of indoor cats. They're looking really pretty, real thick coats for wintertime coming up, and yep, they're doing good. I heard Robin um talking about different drugs and stuff and like weed and how that can make you susceptible to like dark force or Satan. Yeah, it can. You have to be really careful. It's just like anything. That's why I said, I've quit for like decades at a time or even more because you have to clean your system out, and detoxing does help with that. But anything like even my cigarettes, it lowers my vibe. I'm aware of that, but if a person really isn't aware of that, that can be a big issue. And that is one reason, like you've heard me say before, if I know I'm going to talk about God for certain, a lot of times I will not smoke anything before I get on YouTube because I want to be able to speak my own mind in my right mind without any interference. So, but that's not what I'm doing today. And I did smoke a couple hits earlier. So, before I made my chicken soup because I use it as medicine, like arthritis medicine, and different reasons. And for me personally, I'm just saying it made me feel like doing something. I think it depends. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there that growers just make to get you as high as you can possibly get. I don't like that feeling. I never have. So, um, I won't, no, not never. When I was younger, maybe, because I didn't know any better, but yeah, like when I was around, I think I was 35, I threw it out until I was about 40. Then I threw it out for like over 10 years. And after my stroke, I had some for a little while, which was about 10 years ago. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, my horse and I had an accident and I got squished really bad. and I started smoking again. So, and then after I broke my toes and broke my arm, and yeah, sometimes, and what I do usually is get my all my work done in the morning, and then I'm able to smoke something, you know. So, or and I used to always wait until the evening times. So, but it might even depend if you're working because you can be in the zone. It's like when I used to be drywalling. Um, I'd smoke a doobie on the way to work or something physical and just work high, and the time would go really fast. I mean, when you're doing physical labor, like major workout type of, it's like pumping weights all day long with aerobics. It's like you're constantly holding stuff over your head, weight, and you're constantly carrying things and hammering and cutting and picking stuff up. And I mean, the movement, loading things, unloading things. Um, yeah, all of that. Even carrying drywall is, you know, a workout. So rock. I was a rocker. So yeah, I did own my own business. I still have actually a DUNS number and a license for a contractor. So general contractor. So that's because I got sick of subcontracting through contractors that would take most of my money for my work, like the government likes to do. So I thought, why should I do this? And my ex didn't have a driver's license at the time. So I went and took the test, and I figured, yeah, I might as well. I'm working too. So, yeah. I had always kind of hoped to be able to be like a stay at home mom and educate my children at home and take care of the paperwork in the business if we ever got that big. But it took two to do things the right way, and I've never really had that. I know, like, well, where I have succeeded anytime I barely have, it was with God's help. And if we had two people like that, wow, you could actually do something. But when you got one that'll, it's almost like sabotage the whole thing just to remain in control of the whole thing. It's just weird like that, you know. I think some of you really know what I'm talking about on that one. But yeah, but anyway, Robin, back to the drugs and alcohol and all that. You're absolutely right. And whether a person does it or not, it doesn't determine what their soul is or who they are, but just being aware of what you are putting into you, is a really good thing for anybody, you know. So, yeah. Oh, I almost thought about baking some bread too with my chicken soup. I'm kind of, because I love homemade bread with fresh bread with chicken soup. It's really good. But I know it's getting kind of later now, but I don't know, maybe I'll make some in a fry pan. I saw, maybe, told you about that before. You take like a package of yeast and it's like 3 cups of flour and about a cup of water or a little milk and a little bit of salt or whatever you want to. Then you put grease in a pan and you make like buns out of it and put them in there like 6 or 8 or however you want, small you want them, and cook them on one side with a cover. After you put oil in the pan and then flip them over onto the lid or onto a safe plate where you aren't going to burn yourself and slide them back in. So you cook them like for 15 or 20 minutes until the bottom is getting brown. and then flip them over and do them for another 5 to 10 minutes. And like in places where it's really hot and you don't feel like baking. I mean, when I lived down in Arizona, it's really sad, and I was always a pizza-aholic. And I still kind of like it, but not as much as I did. But it's sad to live in a climate where you can't even feel like making your own favorite food. It's like terrible. So, yeah, yeah. But yeah, chicken noodle soup is one of my own favorites too. So, especially homemade, but I like Campbell's, or not necessarily like their chunky style, or just their regular chicken noodle soup is good. Especially if you don't feel good. If you have the old one niner. Wow. Unbelievable. Now there's all kinds of doctors coming out and saying, just like ex-senator Scott Jensen from Minnesota. Dr. Scott Jensen had a post today. It was beautiful. It said and it was of Rand Paul going off on Congress, and good for him. He's a warrior. And Jensen's talking like me now. Just stop your lying and stop trying to make this a mandate. You know, it's just a flu, you know, and you can't say that it isn't. You can't say COVID isn't a flu. If you try and say that or try and block my information here, which I'm just talking to my friends and family, then you aren't just hypocritical or evil. There's really something wrong in your head and in your soul if you have one. So that's the way that is. Because millions of people, hundreds of millions of people all over the world are not going to put up with this anymore. It's just the ones that, and there's when you have doctors and nurses by the thousands walking off their jobs, and other professionals in uh, like the military. I mean, when you piss off a bunch of Navy SEALs, like the best of the best, and they aren't going to take the jab, and they'd rather walk off their job, who do you think they're going to be angry with when they don't get their unemployment? And that's part of what they're trying to pass. Another part of the bill that they're trying to pass is going to be taxing your mileage on every mile you drive. Yep. Whether it be to work or whatever. That's what they were trying to sneak in a bill right now as we speak. And then they threaten that they're going to shut down the government. Who cares? Really, who cares? Do you think life would change that absolutely very much? Not really. The only thing that would change is people would band together more to help the ones that aren't being helped. That's what I could see. I could see that more compassion could come out of this whole thing for everybody. So, yeah, yeah. It's one of the, I mean, I read about it, what their agendas were when I was young, and I was really upset um with all the name changes in the scriptures and everything else. And yeah, I do believe a lot of the stories are about the same people with different names, and maybe even different eras of human um uh well, we won't even need to call it evolution, because people are people, you know. There's only a certain percent of those posing as human beings that don't care if they get what a person is saying anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'll get back on what I was thinking, but yeah, I don't know. these weirdos. But yeah, about how upset I was at first reading all that, and that people would want to actually harm others. Not that I was included in that. Actually, even when I was younger and I first started reading that information on how they wanted to kill Christ and all his children and keep the rest of them under control, all that. I was thinking I didn't put myself in that a part of that. I just was worried about everybody else. Well, I actually just got pissed. I was so angry with the people that were raising me, and I started running away and rebelling. And I mean, talk about um, a teenager being a problem. I think I did that best because I had a reason and God was guiding me. And I gave them the worst problems in that Illuminati they ever witnessed. And I still am bad for them. They don't like it one bit, do ya? Huh. Too bad. Here I am. Boy, you should have seen the look on Doug's face when he first seen me. Because he's seen my soul before. He knows me. He was like, his eyes got big. And I was glaring at him like, yeah. I used to just glare first and then get to know people later. Really, where I was living, there was a lot of, well, like, okay, I was friends with the guy I was remodeling his house, and he wanted me to buy it, us to buy it, and living there until I found one of my own, and because another deal fell through on me at that time. Well, anyway, so there was like bikers around, but it like this guy that was associated with Doug and other bikers and that type of thing. Um, his mother and I were friends, and he was actually raised as a Christian, so I knew personally the person well where I was living, like his mom and sisters and everybody. Um, in their family, cousins, and that type of thing. So we were pretty close like that. So when Doug pulled up on a motorcycle, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, because I've been around some good and some bad, I guess is the way to put that, but some pretty bad stuff. Um, and I was lucky in a lot of ways. God protected me. I was so stupid when I was young. Wow. you know, but anyway, when he first saw me, the look on his face, he was frightened. And one time I went like this. I like held out my hand like I have the power like that at him. And he literally like flinched, like flipped right back. And I'm like, oh, so you do remember, you do know what God does to Satan, huh? So that was some funny shit. Just the look of fear on his face. Yeah, I do things like that. I just thought it was comical. You know, give me a break. Dang. Come on. If you're gonna oppose people that their mindset actually destroys other people, the planet, and everything, then wouldn't you find the most powerful one and play with it, cat and mouse, if you could? Mice do bite back, so he might think I'm the mouse, or I might think he is. Either way, Mice can bite too. You ever seen a mouse jumping at the face of a cat? That scares them, you know? They're like, yeah, you know, that's funny. Especially when kitties are first learning to mouse hunt, you know. They get scared at first, you know. Well, that's the feeling I give Doug. So he has to be mean to me because I scare him. He wants to be able to scare me. He can be mean to me. He can surprise me. But yeah, can even turn red, eyes and all. So yeah. And he has a heating type of power, type of electricity that he can use on people's hearts. And he's tried to destroy mine and it hasn't worked. And he does that in my mind all the time. So whether or not I'm smoking, it really doesn't matter. And that's the truth. But it does matter if I'm getting on here and I'm actually were to be a preacher and like smoking it up before I got on there to do that. I think that would be entirely wrong, you know. And I think if we have done that or we do that, we know when we're doing something right or wrong, you know. Ones that if you have a conscience and you're walking with God, you know it as you're doing it. It's not an afterthought. You know, it's something you're doing. It's not even like a bargain with God, but you know you're going to pay for it, you know, in one way or another. So, like with a headache or whatever, you know. So, yeah. It's so nice and quiet out here now. I hope nobody wants to go deer hunting this year. Boy, it is so terrible. I always feel like moving. I always feel like crying. I just hate it when you have like three, four different neighbors within a few miles and it echoes through this valley. Um, and you don't know what direction it's coming from all the time because of the woods in between and stuff. It is frightening. It's horrible. I really hate it. So I just heard a bird hit the window. Yike. That's another reason I moved the bird feeder because some of the little ones in the spring that don't know our yard, then they will hit a window. And that's why I really oppose glass buildings too. And I can't find any of them window clings, but I do have little wind chimes in most of my windows. That wouldn't help them in the winter, but usually it helps like in the summer. So even having shears over a window just to show. Oh, I used to put plants kind of right by my window, some of my bigger ones, and then I seen a bird try to fly through the tree that was in my house. It's like, oh, holy shit. So I moved it, you know. That was terrible. And I was standing right there and it was going to fly right by me, is what it was going to do. So saying hi to me, it almost died. That's not cool, you know. I am so thankful. Um, I have a few people I listen to, and I know with my faith and my persistence, and they've listened to me too, that where they used to have faith in God probably a lot when they were younger. There's a couple in particular, and maybe more, that my faith and my stories has helped them come back to God. So those were the truly lost ones, not the ones that know they have God within themselves, that spirit, and turn away from that. But these are the ones that still had God in their heart and they were super good. It's just that they were hurt and they were confused like that because of those reasons. that have come back to God. And I heard it again today out of a friend. And those are the moments I love. And I've seen it quite a few times. I sometimes see them get lost again, but God always brings them back. So if you have friends like that and they're good, don't worry, they're going to be okay. If they don't want to be good, you know, that's up to them. It's like go to your room, you know, or just be naughty. I'll go to my room. How's that? That's even better, you know. Wouldn't you love to be able to tell it to a boss sometime? Or like Robin with the boss's son, go to your room. I told Doug that. Be quiet and go to your room. You know, whoa, that fried him out. I know I paid for that one. You know. But sometimes, if you're upset and you don't want to be mean, you can just like, I don't know, sometimes them type of things just come out of you. Or, yeah, go to your room, you're being naughty, I'll talk to you when you're better. I used to tell my kids that, you know, or it's time out. Well, I'd give them a choice. You can exercise with me or sit on the couch and meditate. Talk to God and I'll exercise, or you exercise with me, and then you can just feel lazy. I'd tell them, they'd exercise a little bit, and I'd get them going like that almost every day. Well, I did every day. I don't every day. I keep busy normally, but I still don't push myself. I don't have to anymore. I'm still like, if you keep limber and you keep strong and you've trained in any combat or anything like that, you don't forget any of it. It's there. It's like loading your gun and setting it aside. If you keep your muscles maintained and you started young, or you were always been strong, you know, yeah. Oh, but I will push myself um, a lot of times just because I know I need that. So yeah, I do that. Excuse me. So, well, I'm gonna let you go. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on being inebriated and realizing that we are making ourselves susceptible to dark forces when we're in that frame of mind. If you can eliminate that frame of mind and still have a drink or a hit or something, and Satan's there anyway, you're not invited to the party, dude. Go away. You know, you'll be okay. Because God does take care of his own. And like I said, he's always tried to talk to me anyway. And I actually know the bloodline and um, most of their relatives quite closely. The ones that actually the minds that are vile. And I think some of you have those relatives in your family too. And yeah, we're out here for each other and we're not giving up, and this is our planet. And the children, the future, they're our responsibility. So don't forget that, you know. Well, peace, everybody. I love you. Have a really good night or day, wherever you're at. Cheers.